Let's see how we can use the VLOOKUP function in Google Sheets. We have the VLOOKUP function Google Sheet open and it has the data template we require. In column A, we have the serial number, from 1 to 10 using the sequence function with rows 10, columns 1, start 1, and step 1. In column B, we have the employee ID, as given in the B2 to B11 range. In column C, we have the employee name from A to J. In column D, we have the department in which the employee, with name given in column C and employee ID given in column B, works. In the F2 cell, we have the drop-down for the employee IDs. So we have the same list of IDs given in the B2 to B11 range and an extra ID 200, which is not in the range. Let's select the employee ID 11 for now. In the G2 cell, we want the employee name whose ID is the same as the value selected in the F2 cell. In the H2 cell, we want the department of the employee whose ID is the same as the value selected in the F2 cell. For this, we will use the VLOOKUP function, which does a vertical lookup. It takes search key, range, index, and optional as sorted as arguments. An example is shown. For our case, the search key, the value with which we will search for the employee name or department, will be the one in F2. The search key will change depending on the value we select from the dropdown. Let's lock F2, using the F4, or function plus F4 keys, as the case may be. The range we will take from B2 to D11, let's lock this range as well. One thing to note is that, the first column in the range should always be the column in which we have the search key. Index, so if we want the employee ID, the index will be 1, if we want the employee name, the index will be 2, if we want the department, the index will be 3. Now for G2 cell, we want the employee name, so the index will be 2. Optional is sorted can be false or 0, if we want an exact match, and true or 1, if we want an approximate match. For now, we want an exact match so we will write 0. We see that, for employee ID 11, we get the employee name as A. Now, let's drag this formula to the H2 cell. Since we want the department, we will just change the index in the formula from 2 to 3. We see that, we get department 1, for employee with employee ID 11. Now, if we check for the employee ID 22, we get the employee name B, and department as department 3. Let's check for the employee ID 200, since this employee ID is not in the given range, we get an error, did not find value 200 in VLOOKUP evaluation. Now, let's check for say, employee with employee ID 33, we get the employee name as C and department as department 3. Similarly, we can check for other values as well. For now, let's select employee ID 11. Now suppose, we wanted the serial number instead of the employee name or department, for the given search key. Could we have done this using VLOOKUP? No, because the VLOOKUP will always search to the right of the search key column. It cannot search to the left of the search key column. This is one limitation of VLOOKUP. Another limitation is that it can only do a vertical search, not a horizontal search. Yet another limitation is that if the search key appears more than once in the data range, only the first value is taken, we cannot get the subsequent values using VLOOKUP. Next, suppose we have huge data with many columns, and we do not want to change the index from 2 to 3 and so on every time. That is, we want the data to be updated at once instead of changing the index value every time. Let's first remove the formula from the H2 cell. Instead of passing 2 as the index argument, we can use the column function, which gives the column number of the specified cell. It takes cell reference as an argument. An example is shown. We will write column G1, we will get the column number of the G1 cell, if we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, G is 7th column. Here we wanted an index of 2, so we can just subtract 5 from column G1, that is 7 minus 5, so we will get an index of 2. We see that, we get the employee name as A, the same as we got using the index as 2. Now, instead of column G1 only, we will give the range G1 to H1, so it will automatically take the value as 7 and 8, and subtracting 5 from these values we will get 2 and 3 respectively, the index we require. Since the argument for column is an array, we will have to use the array formula function over the entire formula. We see that, in one go, we get the employee name and department for the employee ID selected in cell F2. If we change the employee ID to say 22, we see that we get the respective employee name and department. If we change the employee ID to say 77, we see that the employee name is G and department is department 2. If we check for employee ID 100, the employee name is J and department is department 4. With this, we have successfully learned how to use the VLOOKUP function in Google Sheets. Thank you for your time. Please like, share, and subscribe if this video was useful.